Hey, it's me, Bria, and I'm a lifestyle coach. I help moms reclaim their time and energy. Look at you, taking this moment to recharge. I see you. During the Doulas Bloom podcast, I share tools and resources with my clients and community to spend time with themselves. The key to you living as your authentic self is embracing change and having courage. Your relationship with yourself is the only true constant in life, and observing yourself throughout each season will allow you to always be in alignment with the desires of your heart. Are you interested in joining my one-on-one coaching program? You can book a sales call with me by visiting the link in the description to schedule your session today. Before we get started, I have to remind you of your influence because you are an inspiration. Hey everybody, and happy International Women's Month. I am so excited for this series. I have been hard at work all of February recording with amazing women to bring you their stories. I created the Girl Chat series not only to share the stories of amazing women, but to also create time capsules of our growth. I think it's so important for us to go back and witness ourselves. And through this series, I have created a little time capsule, not only for me, but also for the women who joined me in these chats. We get to go back and witness ourselves in these moments. And I teach my clients and my community to do this on a monthly and weekly level. And so I'm so excited to expand and grow this series as time goes on. It's going to be so interesting to have guests come back on to the series. But I'm getting ahead of myself. If this is your first time here, my name is Bria. I am a lifestyle coach. I host the Doulas Bloom podcast. I am the creator of the Doulas Bloom community, and I am the leader of the village. So I'm so excited to bring you this March 2022 cohort of Girl Chats. I have committed to doing this every year, as last year in 2021, I did a series, an IGTV series of Girl Chats, which will also be shared during this month, that has inspired me to continue to share stories and to have conversations with women about their stories and their lives and what's brought them to this point. So for the rest of March 2022, you will be getting stories from 20 plus women about their stories, about where they are right now and what has brought them to this point. And I am so excited to do this again. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who's shared so openly in this series. And I am so excited to hop right into this conversation. Clearly, you clicked on this one because something in the title or the description, or you know the person who's going to be on this chat. I just want to say thank you to everybody, and I am so looking forward to our conversation about where you are a year from now, 2 years from now. I'm just excited to have you back for another Girl Chat. But I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to stop rambling and hop right into this conversation because it is so beautiful, and I don't take any of this for granted, and that's why I really had to come in here hot before we even got into the conversation just to share that. And I'm gushing right now, but thank you so much for listening, you as the viewer who's experiencing this conversation, this Girl Chat, and thank you to everybody who's been on the Girl Chat in its entirety. So I'm gonna stop rambling and I'm gonna let the Girl Chat go. But if you're interested in being part of a Girl Chat with us here on the Doulas Bloom podcast, let me know. You can go to the description. There's a link down there for you to join the wait list. There's a wait list, y'all. There's a wait list for the Girl Chats because so many people wanted to be a part of this, and I'm just excited because we're gonna have more Girl Chats here in the future. So if you want to be a part of the next cohort, you need to join the wait list. Okay, have these conversations, share your story, share your insights and your gems with the community, and let us know what's going on. I don't want us to hide and think that we don't, like, our stories aren't enough. Like, oh my gosh, I've learned so much from the women in my life, and that's why this series means so much to me. But again, I want to create space for you to enjoy this conversation. And again, thank you so much to everybody who's listening, who's being a part of this series. I am happy that you're here. Again, if you want to be a part of this series, you can join the waitlist. The link is down below. You can go to doulasbloom.com/podcast guest to join the waitlist. So without further ado, it's time for a Girl Chat.
It's time for a Girl Chat.
Hey, time for a girl chat. It's time for a girl chat. Hey, time for a girl chat. Boom. Hey, everybody. Yeah, I like it too. I love it. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Do This Bloom podcast. I am so excited for today because it's a little reunion, and I don't even know how to say words right now, but we're doing a girl chat today. So if it's your first time here, we're in our series for International Women's Month where I share stories from the women in my community. So today we're with my cousin Jazmyn, and I don't even know how long it's been since we talked. I really don't know how many years it's been. It's been, I would say, over 10 years.
So many.
Yeah. And so I'm excited for us to catch up, see what's going on, and just, share our little gems with the people along the way. So let me give Jazmyn an opportunity to introduce herself. So that's what this moment is.
Perfect. Well, aloha, everybody. I'm Jazmyn. I am Bria's cousin, and I'm in the Coast Guard. I don't know what else y'all need to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's in the Coast Guard. I think that's so cool. As I tried. I did my absolute best to serve this country, and it just wasn't in the cards for me. But I am so proud of you and how you embarked on your journey, and I'm sure you probably have stories, but we could save that conversation for another time. But how are you?
Dude, I'm freaking great, honestly. I feel like a lot of people, when I say that, they're like, are you really? And I'm like, yeah. I don't know what to tell you. I'm chilling, man. I'm just out here minding my business, trying to live my life according to God's will,
I love that. There's so many things I could say. There's so many directions I could take this conversation in, and I'm gonna hop all around. So
say less.
I don't even know where to start, because it's just the last time I saw you was when we were leaving from Hawaii. And so I like to give everybody a little context of how we know each other, aside from us being cousins. It's been that long since we've talked. And so I know that I haven't really seen much of you, because in the Coast Guard, you got your little private life. You don't be sharing all your stuff out here. But yeah, I like to do this little segment on the girl chat where it's we share first impressions, but we know each other. But it's just I guess we could share a little bit about how
actually I want to explain how my perception of you changed.
Okay.
Definitely. I feel and I listened to one of your podcasts with Nay a little while back about how you guys talked about how your relationship changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me and Saya, our relationship definitely changed. And honestly, I feel like you and I, the short amount of time that, because for those of you guys who don't know, which is everybody, we basically grew up together. Bria's family we grew up in Hawaii. So her family ended up leaving before my side of the family did, and everything like that. So that's really where that disconnect kind of started, just because geographically we were in different locations and everything. And you're what, 2 years older than me?
I am 23. So
yeah, so a year, maybe right under 2, because I turned 22
this year.
Yeah, so we're very close in age, but growing up, it's enough that we're hitting milestones at different points. So it's as I'm going into middle school and stuff like that, you were getting ready to hit high school and everything. So but I definitely, when I was younger, I was also a very soft-spoken kid and very insecure and stuff. And I remember that I always admired you because I always felt like you were such a bold personality. And I felt, honestly, when I was younger, I felt like you hated my guts because you had your friends. And I remember with Ariane and them, there came a point, because I started dancing and everything with them. And so I started hanging out with them. And I think at a point where our friend group overlapped, there was a little bit of discord. And I think that just goes with when you're a kid and stuff. And it's you have your friends, you have your things. So when your younger siblings, younger cousins kind of come in and broke it out of my space, stop it. But then I think in the same sense, once we got older, once I was getting closer in my preteens and everything like that, you were starting to get later into your preteens, I felt more of kind of a mentorship And everything, I felt like there was more of a, instead of so much being like, you're my younger cousin, get out of my space, it was just like, hey Jazz, do you want to do this? Because it was like I was outgrowing the younger ones, but I was in that weird age gap where it was like I was kind of too young for the older ones, too old for the younger ones. I was kind of in my own thing. And I think you definitely made it easier when I was in certain conflicts, or if I was just not in it with the younger ones and stuff, you'd be like, hey, let's go hang out. Let's go do stuff like that. And I definitely felt like we had, it sucked because I felt like just as we were building a friendship and everything like that, that's when y'all up and left. And I was just nice, solid. And then it was just once you guys moved, you and I, we didn't see very much of each other. And then when we did, at that point, you were already in high school, you had a boyfriend, like you had a life that you were living and stuff like that. So it was just kind of like, you were really just doing Bria, you know? So
I had a boyfriend.
He's like, what is that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I definitely felt the drift there. And then I think both when you were graduated in college doing your thing, you were in culinary school though, I had joined the military, and then we like followed each other on social media, and I think that's when we started kind of reconnecting. And even though I don't think we've ever had like a genuine like catch up or anything, we definitely are always there hyping each other up, just like, dude, I'm so proud of you, like,
period,
let you go, like, bro, amazing, like everywhere where it counts, everywhere where it's significant. I feel always there, like boosting each other up. You could post a real cute picture of yourself and I'm like, okay, queen, go off. I'd like post like an accomplishment I made in the military and you'd be like, girl, I'm so proud of you, look at you. And it's just like, good, I'm glad that we still have that type of whatever it is, the support system that we still have, even though we can't be necessarily as close as we used to be. That I definitely think is like kind of cool. And it just kind of brought it to my attention when I listened to that podcast with you and Benet, because I was like, yo, that's me and Saya. And then I was like, wait, that's kind of me and Bria too, though. Like, there's definitely a point where like our relationships had shifted and stuff too. And I think also just with our family dynamic, there's a lot of messiness in that. So the fact that like as we grew into our own people, able to establish those relationships on our own, not who our parents were or what our parents did or how our parents acted. It was just like, nah, like Bria has a big heart. Bria's a very kind-hearted person. She's very independent, you know, somebody I look up to. And I was able to appreciate and value you for who you were as a person and not as Auntie Shiva's daughter. You know what I mean? You were your own person. You were Bria. You happened to be Bathsheba's daughter, you know?
Exactly.
Like, that's really what it was. And yeah, I just thought that would be cool to kind of like explain, because I was actually really excited to like.
If I like didn't ask this question, like you would have never shared that with me. And I just want to like touch a point. When I was younger, I didn't hate your guts, but I definitely was irritated with your soul at some point. I was like, why is she here? And
like, that's so much work.
And it's like, I can say this truthfully because like, it's not how I feel anymore. And like, at that point in my life, I was very territorial. And I think I still am very territorial now over myself and like how I share myself with my community and how I show up for like the things in my life. But it's just like interesting to see that like you felt that shift and now like you just realize that I'm just, because you said that you were a soft-spoken person. That is not how I would have described you, but
I think internally that was definitely my alter ego. Like, I guess a better way of explaining it is I was very obnoxious, and it was because I was overcompensating because I just felt less than everybody. Like, I grew up, I don't know if you know this, because I think by this time, you guys were definitely gone. There came a point in my friendship with Ariane in that group where Ariane just stopped talking to me. And then of course, when you're in that kind of group as your adolescence, everybody else stops talking to you. But then, and I'm not sure if you were there when she had gotten there, she was the youngest out of the group and stuff like that. She was very easily influenced and stuff. We all were, but you know, she was so much younger than the rest of us. And she kind of was lost. She was just like, why aren't we talking to you? And Ariane was upset with that. So Ariane iced her out.
Oh, Lord.
She was talking to me. And I remember they were dropping me off one day after us hanging out. And Ariane had told me as she's walking me to the door of my apartment complex, and she was just like, do you want to know why we weren't talking to you? And my pride was like, no, I don't care. It's whatever. Do what you want. But I was like, yeah, because like it came out of nowhere. I mean, if you want to tell me, she's like, it's because you try too hard. Try too hard to what?
Yeah.
You just try way too hard to be funny and stuff. I was like, bro, if you have no sense of humor, just say that. Like, you're upset.
Yeah.
You find me funny. Like,
You were, you are funny. I don't care what anybody says. I can tell you right now, Jazmyn is not trying hard. She's literally being herself. I remember growing up, we always threw dance parties. I remember this. There was the laptop in the living room.
It's my favorite thing about the family.
We used to have like this desktop in the living room of our little home, and we used to like do karaoke and do dance parties. But I think it's so crazy because I remember vividly one time you were like dancing with the wall, like you were dancing with your shadow, and we were like, whoa, bro, what is Jazmyn doing? And like we used to record ourselves. I remember like watching video or whatever, but I was like, what is she doing? And like you were living your best life. I was like, okay, go off.
Leia brings that up all the time.
No, I love it. I love it. And so it's just like for someone to say that, like it just goes to show that they don't really know you that well. And like I've struggled with like friend groups as well. I don't like having big friend groups. A lot of my friends now are like way older than me. And I say way older than me because I'm like 23, like they're a generation above me. I'll say it like that. They're like 30, late 20s, like they're millennials. And so the way that I interact with them is very different than the way that I interact with people who I've gone to school with or who are my age, because my untraditional gap year when I enlisted in the military and like broke my body and all that stuff, I ended up going to school with people who were a grade below me. And so just like the dynamic of being with those, I want to say students or children, but like was very different because of like the life experience that I had. Like the way that I thought about myself and the way that I thought about life was not the way that they were thinking about it. And so I think they might have thought that I was trying hard, but I was just living life the way that I knew how to live it.
Exactly. Like, and that's how I felt because then we moved from Chinatown to Eva Beach, and I went ahead and, you know, we didn't go to the same church. I wasn't in the same area and stuff like that. So we kind of stopped being friends and everything. And of course, at my new school, I grew up playing sports, as you know, and stuff like that. And I joined a basketball team, and those for a good while were the core of my friends and stuff. I think I was maybe in 7th or 8th grade. No, I was in 7th grade. And the same thing happened where like, she wasn't even really like the leader because we just all had our own strong personalities, that it was just a friend group. But she stopped talking to me, and I think everybody else just kind of like, I don't think it was really intentional, like let's ice out. I think it just kind of happened. And then there was a girl who would talk to me, and I was a bit fed up and definitely offended. And I was like, oh, are you sure you want to be seen talking to me? And she was like, I don't care. Like, she doesn't tell me what to do. And I loved Jay for this. So
shout out to you.
She's this little tiny Filipino girl, absolutely beautiful inside and out, and a little feisty thing, as most short people are. She was just great, and she really helped me out during that time. And she was just like, you know, Pamela doesn't want to talk to you because she says that you try too hard to be funny. And I remember being so irritated when I heard that again, bro. I was like, dude, I'm not trying hard. I'm just naturally socially awkward and weird, and just have the confidence to play it off like I don't care. Therefore, people think it's a sense of humor, when really I'm just trying to play off my embarrassment. Like, that's really all it is. Like, it's not even that deep. And I just remember at that point, I was just like, I can't control how other people react to me and what their opinions are and stuff, but like, I most certainly can control how I act. And I remember at that point in time, I was like, I'm not giving her another minute of me being upset, of feeling left out, of feeling lesser than. If you don't want to be my friend because I take the spotlight off of you, or whatever the case may be, I'm just a person that's enjoying time with her friends. Like, that's what it is. I'm not over here trying to be like, oh, we're all talking about Pamela's new shoes, let me tell everybody this joke. No, bro. She said something about shoes, and it reminded me of the fact that my sister tied mine this morning, and I tripped and fell flat on my face. Thought it was a funny story to tell everybody. My bad. Everybody finds it funny. Like, the minute I started doing that, people just kind of started gravitating toward me, and I ended up broadening my like social groups and stuff. Type of person that like essentially was a social butterfly. Like, I had friends in every group. I played multiple sports, so it was like I had little cliques in that. I was in different extracurricular activities, dancing, church groups. Like, so I had friends from that, you know, people that I just had classes with, people that I hung out with outside of school. I had my little groups and stuff like that. So it got to a point where my sister used to be like, Jazmyn, you're so popular. Because every time she picked me up, people would be like, bye, Jazz, see you later. And it wasn't that I was popular. It was just like, I was well known. Like a lot of people knew about me because I was just so active. Yeah. And once I got there, it was like the end of the school year came up. Of course, we're like passing like yearbooks and stuff. And suddenly Pamela's coming up to me and is like, oh my gosh, I haven't signed your yearbook yet. I know.
You're not going to.
Right? Like, she was like, well, do you want to sign my yearbook? I was like, particularly. She was like, oh, well, could you? I was like, I mean, sure. Like, I don't know why you'd want me to sign it, but okay. And I literally put, have a great summer. Like, that was it. Like,
not hags.
Oh no, you don't get hags, bro. You hags to your friends. All right.
Yeah.
Like, bro, I'm not gonna try to pretend this is something that it's not. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm not about to try to be fake. And I was just like, but I do genuinely hope you have a great summer. And in my book, dude, it's in storage. But if I had it, I would literally read it back to you because it was just this BS of just, you're just such a funny and amazing person. And I'm so sorry. Like, we didn't talk as much this year. It's because of you, bro, because you somehow felt threatened or my soul just irritated you. I don't know what it may be, bro, but like, geez. And since then, like, I tried really hard not to take what people thought of me so personally because her problems with me had nothing to do with me. If that makes sense. Like, preach. Not about getting my feelings hurt because you're dealing with insecurities. Like, if you want to be funny, just open up a comic book. Like, it's not that hard. Knock jokes are great. Like, they get people every time. You know?
Oh my gosh. Can I tell you a knock joke? It's one of my favorites. Oh, if I can remember it. Oh, wait. It's like, it goes knock.
The door's open.
No, not you telling the joke. It goes knock.
Who's there?
Dwayne.
Dwayne who?
Dwayne the tub. I'm drowning. It's so cheesy, but that's my favorite.
Bro, my boss, she has these little, like, I forget where she gets them from. I think she gets them from those little popsicle sticks. And there's like a daily dad joke. So every morning she comes into the office with a dad joke for us. And it's just, it's the highlight of our day. Like, it's great. They're just so good. Like, they're so good. It's lovely. But yeah, I would say, like, that's where I come from when I'm like, I was kind of like quiet and stuff like that. To a lot of people, they're like, no, the heck you were not. Like, no, I was definitely overcompensating.
But I think that says a lot about like your self-awareness and just knowing yourself, because like, I've had moments like that throughout my life, and I'll probably still continue to have those moments, but that's why I prefer to have a one-on-one connection with people more than trying to force group dynamics. Somebody has tried to make me meet their mutual friends and like be like, oh, I think my friend's friend were like, I'd be like, nah, girl, I'm good. I like you. That's enough for me. But I can
with them, bro. But like, it's okay. It's not the end of the world.
I'm not even trying to go out with y'all. Y'all have y'all fun together, and you catch me when we can actually have one-on-one time. But
I would rather a coffee date. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I like tea, a vanilla chai, please. But I think we've already kind of like started to hit this kind of point about like what brought you to this point. I would love it if you're comfortable to share a little bit of how like your military experience has shaped you into who you are, because it has shaped the heck out of me. And
a lifestyle like that, you definitely don't come out the same no matter what your experience is. I definitely wouldn't say like I've had this horrendous type of experience. I tell people all the time, I absolutely love the Coast Guard. If I had to do it all over again, I absolutely would. It's been such a humbling and eye-opening experience. I don't think you've ever met my mom, maybe briefly, but she's a very independent woman. She has 3 kids of her own, and she raised them as a single mom. So a lot of her independence and self-sufficientness she passed on to my sister and I. And growing up, like I said, I was very like insecure and stuff like that. So I had a very hard time with things like that. But moving out of the home and joining something like the military, it gave me the freedom to do that growth as you are expected to, being a young adult, but it also kind of gives you the security of knowing that like if you fail, if you fall short, if you stumble, like you're not completely like screwed. And I tell people all the time, God is at the center of everything, at the core of who I am. I don't live this life for myself. I am merely here by the grace of God.
Say it again for the people in the back.
that is it, bro. Because if I had my way, we wouldn't be having this conversation. All right. I'd be chilling in heaven, all right. Cause I'm fed up. That's okay. But definitely being a Christian in the military, it causes you to be self-aware, and it causes me to think about decisions that I'm making, the people I'm hanging around with. You're no stranger to it. People in the military, we're a different breed. They're a different breed. Everyone wants to be like, oh my gosh, I thought about joining the army, but like I couldn't. Just shut up.
Yeah, if you ain't do it,
until you do it, until you actually attempt it. And even through the MEP system shows you a lot.
I haven't heard that word in a minute.
Yeah, right. True. PTSD. Like,
no, seriously.
But until you actually experience it, you can't really genuinely say how you would deal with it, because it's just a different. I mean, even just from like my station where I'm currently at here in Louisiana to where I was at previously in Virginia, very different. Virginia was very toxic, very just negative. It was very draining. By the time I got here to Louisiana, I was so socially, emotionally drained. I was a different person, and my mom was so worried. And I was just like, it's okay. I don't know how he's going to do it, but God's going to bring me out of this because I am seeking him. I'm pushing into him like I've never pushed into him before. And he's definitely, just within this year of me being stationed out here, has definitely brought me to lengths. But I would definitely say I'm very secure in who I am as a person, and especially as a daughter of Christ. But at my core being as an individual on this earth, I definitely like have no shame in who I am. And there's no questions about as I am, maybe where I'm going, but I feel like we all have those questions. That you're constantly growing, constantly learning and stuff, but nobody could say anything about me that would cause me to stumble or question myself or be like, maybe they are right. Cause I genuinely just don't care. And it's just something that like, obviously I get from God, but being in the military, the same way, like I had to do that. You had to learn that, because the military, it's really like, it's going to make or break you. Like, that's why a lot of people, they're like, oh, I was going to join, but if a sergeant like screamed in my face, no, they'd make you cry. They break people. Like,
no, you guys have no idea. I can't put it into words, but I remember, because I was in the Marine Corps. And so
it's hard knock life, bro.
I really wanted to be raw. And I did have my raw moment, and I still have very much raw energy in me. But I remember the first day when we were like in receiving, and we were like waiting to even meet our drill instructors. We was all kikiing, talk about this is camp. Legitimately, this is Bria speaking. I was like, this ain't nothing. I was like, y'all don't see, that's what they do to you. But that's what they do to you when you go through receiving. They get you like, and then you meet your drill instructors. When I tell you, I have never been so overstimulated in my life. And this is why I have issues. Like, if I tell y'all it's too loud, you should probably pipe down before I like snap. But like, it's just a crazy experience of just being like, I am crying and these people are yelling at me. And apparently I had an attitude problem in boot camp.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like,
if you saw how we were brought up, it would make sense.
But I was like, this is just my face. And I've had a drill instructor who was like, Bria, your hair, you need to do it over again. You need to take your braids out. And I was like,
they would be nervous about bringing up my hair. They'd be like, do you need like a special?
No. My drill instructors was like, you looking too cute, do it again. I was like, and apparently
being an individual.
right. And so everybody, they always made jokes. They were like, Daniel, how do you smell so good? I'm like, what do you mean I smell good? They're like, we don't smell like you. And I was like, y'all, please stop. They were like, you smell different. I was like, maybe I'm vegan. So they kept saying that is because I was vegan. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. But I think it's so interesting. I wanted to kind of share my experience with like my faith and my spirituality, because like for as long as I remember, I was brought up very much in the church. And so I don't know what happened when I went to school in Denver and Colorado. That's when like I would say that it wasn't intentional, but I definitely kind of, there was a space that started to build, and like I don't even remember praying, talking to God, going to church. Like it just kind of happened. I was looking for a church home when I got there. I was watching Elevation Church online for a little bit, but then life started happening. And so I think the pandemic really snatched the heck out of my throat. And so when I had to move back home and like all these things were happening and how I just wanted to stay in Denver. And when I tell y'all I was going off the rails, like the Lord knew what he was doing, because Brio could have been, would have been, should have been pregnant, but that wasn't in the cards for me. And he said, oh no, baby girl, come on back home, please, baby girl, please. And so like I was literally watching a sermon before we got started this chat, and I was feeling like super anxious today. And I was like, nothing's working. I was like, this is hard. Like I'm doing this thing, but like, it's not working and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, girl, you need to, like you said leaning into God. And I love that, because like, that's kind of what I had to do today. And I was just like, I have to be intentional about the way that I'm thinking and who I'm.
That word right there, intentional, key.
That is the whole model for my life. Like if I don't.
My word for this year, intentional.
It is? Okay.
Yeah. Like,
I love that.
I don't do necessarily like New Year's resolutions. It's something my church back home used to do. So like we would pray and ask God to give us a word, and you know, we'd share it amongst like whatever connect group, life groups, whatever that we were in, and it's just kind of something I've brought with me living on my own, stuff like that. And so this year God was just like intentional in everything, in especially my relationship with him, and just putting him first and making him the priority, because there's this worship song that recently came out that like I'm obsessed with. It's called This Is the Kingdom, and it's based off of the verse that literally says, seek first the kingdom and all else.
You still watch Elevation Church?
Girl, yes. I be listening even all the time. Girl, my Bible, the Bible I got from the first time I visited that church, I still have it to this day. I started getting new Bibles, but
I'm going to need you, me, and Benet to have a little e-group between the three of us so we could talk about this. No, I'm
bro, we should, because I really want to get Saya into some like Bible study and stuff too. We should like make it.
I'm so serious. I like when I tell you I'm so serious, because I was like, I want to like join an e-group, but I'm like, just because like
people like that. No,
it's just like you never know who you're coming into, kind of like what we were talking about earlier. And like I would say that I am more spiritual than I am religious. Like I talk to my ancestors, I talk to the universe, like I talk to the moon, the stars, the trees. That's what I feel compelled to do. Nobody else has to do that, but like that's how I feel connected to source, energy, God, universe, whatever you believe in. But it's just like God created the trees, and I'm not saying that I'm worshiping the trees, but like I'm grateful that the trees are here and the trees are talking to me. So if I believe God can use anything to send you a message. So
I mean, he used the burning bush for Moses. So
come on. Listen, I was listening to the sermon, and you know how the pastors, baby, like they start scripture and then like you say the rest of it. I was like, I didn't even know I knew this. I said, Mama knew what she was doing when she had me in the church.
Come on, yo. You remember when you was a kid and you would see that?
And I was like,
is this what a cult is? Is this what's happening? So we just all magically know? Right. And but now like you're grown and you actually know. Like I remember raising my hands up in church. It was like a revelation, bro. I was like, oh my gosh, I know Jesus. Like, this is crazy.
I think it's so interesting to me how people, I want to use the word embody or embrace their spirituality, because like I know for me, I could probably never go back to a traditional church and feel completely 100 authentically myself, because I'm not gonna lie, I be singing bad words. I do. And when the preacher says something good, I be like, oh,
that's good.
Exactly. And it's like in the church, somebody be like, oh Lord.
Oh my gosh.
And so it's just like, if I can't express, like, because I think that people take things out of context, but God knows the contents of my heart. And so he knows this ain't coming from a place of disrespect. This is just like, oh my gosh, I needed this.
That was some good stuff.
Exactly.
So yeah. I think at the end of the day, it's something that I've really been convicted of lately. That's a big word for Elmo, but my older sister, she's very like, that woman is anointed. Anointed. I always tell people God is a snitch, because almost all of the women in my family, my aunt, my mom, my older sister, like God speaks to them. Their gift of discernment is ridiculous. Frustrating, because like they'll be telling me things that I know only God knows, because it's stuff dark. Okay. And they'd be like, I have, like, my aunt one day told me about this thing I did that I'm not exactly proud of. I have no intentions of doing it again. I told God that, but suddenly she's like, I have this dream of you. And she explained not just the situation, but how I internally felt.
I say, you need to stop.
Seriously. And she was like, I don't know why I would have that dream. I was like, I know. And I was like, God, I already told you it's never going to happen again. That was literally like 2 years ago. Like, why are you playing games? This is not funny. And he's just crackling. And I'm like,
and that's how my relationship is with
get it out. But at the end of the day, us as believers, we get so caught up in our mission to spread the gospel, spread the good news, let people know, hey, Jesus loves you. Like, he came died for your sins, specifically you. It's not just like he was like, oh, I'm doing it for everybody. Like, no, he was like, Bria Daniel. This is for you. Like, everything, you know what I mean? And that is our mission. That is what we're here to do. We're called to be the light of this earth, little Christ, you know, Christ-like. That is what we should be striving to do as believers. However, and it's something that's been a recurring theme these last couple of months, is God's greatest commandment, which is to love your neighbor, to love yourself. God tells us to hold each other accountable. You know what I mean? Like, sex outside of marriage, you know, stuff like that. It's hard truths. It's stuff that people get uncomfortable about. Nobody likes being called out on it, but it's not of God. It's not how God intended us to live our lives. However, he has called us to hold each other accountable, but he has said to do it in love.
Exactly.
So, oh, well, it's the truth. It's the truth, but is it out of love? It's wrong. It can still be the truth and still be wrong. You feel me? It's no longer just like God's truth, it's judgment. And now you're putting and God says, how you judge others, you will be judged also. So if you're going to put yourself on that pedestal and try to give yourself that authority, I promise you, it's going to be a rude awakening when he knocks you clean off, makes like Lucifer, and you will be another shooting guy. He ain't playing no games. And I think,
oh my gosh,
I have a hard time with that, because my older sister is definitely a no nonsense. Like, she is, she's like, I don't care who it offends. I admire it. I'm not Kate. Like, God has given me a gift of empathy and compassion. Like, I care too much about other people's feelings. While I understand I can't control how they react to the way I do things and things like that, and how it's out of my hands. God tells us, you know, and I don't know the exact book or the exact scripture, but he had told Israelites, to not eat of certain meats as to offend people who still practice those old traditions. It wasn't wrong for them to eat them. He just said, like, just don't do it because it's specifically going to offend them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not outright tell somebody, oh, you're homosexual, you're going to hell. No, I don't need to agree with that. I don't need to support it. I don't need to be there at the LGBTQ parades and rallies and stuff like that. But I'm still going to love you because Jesus loves you. You know what I mean? And me, like, that's where my heart comes from. And I try to always love others, not to show who I am or be like, because I'm woke, I couldn't care less. Like, I know what the Bible says, I know what God tells us, but I could be, there's this saying where it's like, you could be the closest to God, to Jesus, that somebody could ever get. And I don't any of my fleshly opinions or thoughts to ever get in the way of somebody's encounter with Jesus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, even if they can just touch the little bit of Jesus that I got in my soul, I'll be grateful. Not for, but because like for them and for God, that they can see God's glory and the goodness of him and his mercy and what he has for them, not for who I am. I'm flawed. All right. I promise you, the stuff that I try to be speaking, like, oh, you can't lie. I just lied to somebody yesterday that I had to repent about. Okay. Like it's an ongoing process. You know what I mean? But I definitely don't ever want to mistake telling somebody the truth out of love for condemnation or judgment or
I understand.
being a hypocrite or anything like that. And that's just something that, like, no matter who it is in my life, no matter where they're coming from, I just always want to encourage them. Like, the church can be a hurtful place. It really can, because that's where a lot of offense happens for people that have either turned away from God or don't necessarily feel comfortable in those environments. And I don't ever want people to turn away from Jesus because of that, because the church is people, you know what I mean? And we're all flawed. They say that the hospital for the broken. All right. So broken people. We get mistakes and stuff like that. But God, he renews, he heals. And I just always want to encourage people to seek God for themselves. Church, my older sister, she's probably one of the most anointed people I've ever met in my life. And we just recently really started getting deep in spiritual fellowship like that. And she doesn't go to a organized church. She catches it online, or you remember Cherie and Donald and everything like that. They still preach and stuff. They do it at home.
That's beautiful.
They don't go to a church. They do it at home. And so she it online like that and stuff. The Bible says where two or more are gathered in my name, there I will be also. So it doesn't have to just be this anointed building.
I think it's
crazy worship team and stuff like that.
No, the worship do be hitting though. That's the worship be hitting for me and my music.
This is the kingdom. That's an elevation song.
Exactly, I know. And Gyra is one of my favorites. Oops. But I just want to like just to share like my perspective on all this, because like I wouldn't call myself a sinner. I am a human. Like I am if we're speaking in these terms, like I am flesh, and like this is not going, like I'm not trying to be perfect, but my primary what's the word I'm looking for, my primary concerns is myself. So I don't even like to look at other people and their problems unless they're asking for support from me directly, because like I'm not what's the word I'm looking for, I'm not a virgin. I'm not. And and I was like, I've had a relationship with a woman. Does that make me a person who isn't going to go to this heavenly place? I would say no, that's not going to stop me from going to these places. Some people might have their opinions about that, but I honestly believe that if we all spend time cultivating our own relationship with self and our own relationship with our spirituality and our connection to whatever higher power we believe in, I think that's more important at the end of the day than trying to fit into a box, because I think you can get things from everywhere, as well as like just understanding that your connection to a higher power is the most important thing, just to know that there is something beyond you that is supporting you. But yeah, I think there's a lot of things that you can believe, and like I resonate with the things that you're saying, and I take some of those things as truth, and other things I'm like, for me, that don't sit right. And so for some people, I wouldn't call myself a Christian. I am definitely a spiritual person. And if I had to say, give myself a religious title, gratitude is my religion. I'm just thankful for the breath in my lungs, that I have an opportunity to share what I feel compelled to share with the world. And knowing that like what I feel compelled to do is enough at the end of the day, because like you said earlier about how like, if it wasn't for the grace of God, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here either. If it wasn't.
My goodness. People really out here. I'm just telling you, I don't know how people go through it, like not believing in anything. You know what I'm saying? Like people are just like, nah, you live, you die, and that's it. Like,
but hey, I feel like there's a place on this earth for all of those people. And I believe in like, this isn't my first time having a human experience. And so it's just like, there have been times where like in a past life, I may have been a person who was less evolved. And that's
Less woke.
yeah, well, I'm just saying less evolved. Like, I think that there's things that we carry with us because, you know, some people would say I'm mature for 23. And I'm just like, I don't think that I'm 23. Like, I've been here before. And I think some of those lessons that we have learned are still, you know, a part of the soul that is in this Bria body.
I've never heard of it like that. That's definitely like an interesting take on that.
Yeah, I'm just like, this isn't my first time being in this body. It's like I'm thinking of like my lineage and just like how ancestral trauma and wisdom is always like, we always have access to it. And if we tap into our ancestral wisdom, like we can get guidance from there. Like, that's why I'm just like, whatever you feel compelled to believe and trust as your connection to your spiritual relationship with the world, it's safe for you to explore that. And so, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that there was two sides, even though like, I love to agree to disagree. You know, there's a lot of.
I'm a big fan.
It's a beautiful world out here, and we don't need to.
I'm
the same.
Non-confrontational. I think that's something that probably has changed because I was a really angry kid and had big attitude, if you remember. But I was very much like, come at me, bro. Like, I'm not about to back down to nobody, but God has humbled me immensely. And I'm very anti-confrontational. Like,
I don't got time for it.
I'm just like, bro, like, especially for me, I think, and I'm sure you can attest to this. I grew up in a family of very strong women, strong, opinionated, just strong-willed, just for the highway. I'm a very easygoing, laid back, just let's talk about it. If you want to talk about it, we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Just yell. If you're going to talk over me, if you're just going to disregard everything I'm saying,
I'm not even arguing with you.
Need me here for this conversation. Like,
you are talking to yourself.
I'm going to go get me some ice cream. Like,
period.
Yes or just let me know. I will interject accordingly. But
no, seriously,
not gonna get my effort because if I don't feel like I struggled with it as a kid, and I would say it is still a trigger for me now that I'm grown, but I've learned not to take it so personally. But I definitely, it's a trigger for me when I feel like I'm not being heard. You don't need to understand. You don't need to agree with me. It doesn't need to be like, oh no, you're completely and totally right. No, but if I'm talking to you and it's just constantly like I'm being invalidated or what I'm saying is being disregarded, or you're just not even retaining it, like you're just sitting there waiting for your chance to speak, it really like it makes my blood boil. Like, no, seriously, I'm a shutdown type of person. Like, I'm not going to scream or yell at you. I will shut down.
I feel like we're similar in that way. Your auntie Sheba, my mother, she always tells me, she's like, Bria, you taught me so much.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, just raising you. Because like listen, I say this every time I reference my mom. I wasn't the good kid. I wasn't the sweet kid. I was are you done lecturing me? I was that kid. I was very much, you done?
As an adult now. That's my ex.
Oh, I let people talk to themselves.
One time we got into a really bad argument one time, and he had said something and it just took me over the edge. I'm a person, I don't know if you remember when I was a kid, but I was very explosive. Like, you said something that triggered me, all hell was about to break loose.
Yeah.
That is no longer the case. I will hold my tongue. I will be
like, oh, okay.
I'll be like, you know what? I need a minute, because if I try to speak to you like this, somebody's feelings are going to get hurt. Tears are going to shed, and I promise you, like,
no, seriously.
Like BC Jazmyn before Christ, she about to make an appearance, and you're not ready for that. All right.
And listen,
remove myself from the situation. If I can't remove myself, I'm going to shut down. Don't push.
Seriously, I tell people all the time, I give you a fair warning. I told you multiple times, give Bria space. Why you following me?
I'll tell you, I need a moment. Like, I will communicate that to you, so you don't think like, Like, I'll be like, nah, I need a moment. I'm a little bit heated right now.
Oh my
I can't
gosh.
like conversation with a level head,
Mhm.
with a clear conscience. So I'm gonna just give me 5 minutes. And I'm also a person like I don't hold on to that type of negative energy. Like I
Oh
can't.
no.
I don't got the space, got the time. No, bro. I held on to anger, grudges,
No, seriously.
hostility for so long that like I'm grown.
It's not an option anymore.
Like it exactly, like it's too easy to not, you know what I mean? If I can't communicate, I just drop it. Like seriously, people are like, how are you happy all the time? One, I'm not exactly happy all the time,
Yeah.
but like I don't like negativity, so I just don't do it. And it sounds funny, but it's like that's really it. Like I just don't like it, so I don't do it. Like the minute I'm stressed, I'm like, God, I don't like this, take it. And he's like, all right, here you go. And I'm like, thanks. That was heavy, like no thanks.
I will do a energy release in a
Bro,
minute. I'd be
seriously,
like, that ain't for me.
I
I
can't.
stop people in their tracks. I'd be like, don't speak that
Yup.
over my life. You better stop.
Yep. And we were in the car, so I couldn't leave. He couldn't leave. And he had just kind of set me off. And I was like, I need a moment. Like, I don't want to talk to you right now. And he was just like, babe, like, did it like trying to get me to, I was
I'm
like,
not your babe right now.
I just told you. I understand you want to fix this right now, but I am not in the headspace to constructively communicate.
Stop it.
Right. Like right now,
Boundaries, bro.
respectfully, I don't care. Like I don't care to fix it. Like I don't care about your feelings and stuff like that. It hurts. It's a harsh truth, but that's just where my headspace is. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
Time. And he just kept going off, and he got livid. He hit my dash.
Oh no.
Like, cusses. He's like, what the is your problem?
Oh no.
I was like, I looked at me, I stopped my car. Okay, I pulled a black mama thing, bro. I stopped my car, pulled over. I looked him dead in the eyes and I said, you can get out of my car. And he was like, no. I said, excuse me? He was like, I'm not going anywhere. I said,
you got 5 seconds.
Act like you're a grown man or you can get up out of my car. And he was like, he went quiet.
That's what I thought.
And then he wanted to keep talking and he was like, I just don't understand. Like, so irritating, da da da. And I let him go. I let him just go off. He's like yelling, he's freaking out. And then he stops, he looks at me and I was like, are you done?
I love it.
Are you done? And I like, it was like something that was so new to me because honestly, even though like, I was like, this is ridiculous, I was so at peace internally.
No, seriously.
Dude, you're acting out of pocket. I told you, all I said was I just needed some time, a good 5 minutes. You've been with me long enough to know it doesn't take me long to process stuff like that because I don't like well on the negative. I'm not the kind of person, I'm not that kind of girlfriend where I'm like, where it's like, babe, how you doing? I'm fine. Okay,
no. I'm fine.
We're not gonna. No, bro. I'm just like
the Daniels are not I'm fine kind of people.
Bro, like if I'm not fine, I'll tell you. I'll be like,
seriously,
my mom did this, bro. My sister did this, bro. Tell me why. I was at work to get, and I'll rant and vent to you. Like I grew up not communicating, and that hindered a lot of relationships. I'm sure you can relate. I feel like that's how it was even when we were younger and stuff like that. There was a lot of communication, a lot of personal hurt on everybody's end, and everyone feeling, you know, how they were feeling, rightfully so. Everybody goes through
everybody's feelings are valid.
But what people don't understand is if you're going to make relationships work, you don't get to hold on to that stuff and be like, well, I'm hurt. So no, if you want to make the relationship work, you got to be like, well, I'm hurt. How can we move forward?
Oh,
I understand that you feel this is how I took it. How can we fix it? How can we move towards a solution and stuff like that? You know what I mean? Like you got to put in that work. You have to humble yourself.
Listen,
in situations and work towards that, because in no matter what kind of relationship, romantic, familial, friendships, whatever the case may be, it's not just about you. And the minute people start being like, well, because I've been through all of this in my past, guess what? Boo-hoo to you, but that person has also been through some stuff. Like, it doesn't invalidate you. You're valid for it. Okay? Don't act like you're the only one that's been through stuff. Okay. Everybody's gone through traumas in life. It's how you deal with those traumas that set you up. So if you can't communicate your emotions, your traumas, why you are the way you are, if you can't sit with yourself and deal with those problems, that's a you problem.
Seriously, you got to look in the mirror and
Dude,
see where you are angry with your own reflection.
yes.
Because I was just about to wrap this all together, because we get into that point where we got to start closing. But seriously, like,
Yeah.
that question that you asked where it's like, okay, are you done? Because like,
Yeah.
I say that to myself. Listen, I let myself throw tantrums, I cry it out, and then big Bria looks at baby Bria on the floor and be like, okay, are you ready to talk now? Because
Right.
like,
Are you ready to process through this?
are you ready for us to move forward? Because we can't sit here, we're not going to make the progress that we want just
Yep.
sitting here feeling
Yep.
sorry for ourselves. And just like, if you want to like make progress, not only in your relationship with yourself or your relationships with your like family and the career and the lifestyle that you want to
How
build,
life
like,
goes. It's just how life goes, because there's this saying where it's just like, there's always going to be bad days. There's always going to be trauma. There's always going to be junk. There's always going to be evil.
yeah,
Even when you're at the most height of your life, that doesn't just plateau. Eventually, it's got to go one
ebbs and
direction.
flows. Yeah.
It's a constant cycle, just like how
Mhm.
you're never done getting to know yourself. You're constantly going to learn something new. You're constantly going to be growing. You're 5 years from now, you could be like, oh, I am all about self-employment, entrepreneurial independence. Yeah, I don't want to live near my family because they're just drunk. 5 years from now, you have a family of your own. I want my children to know their cousins. I want my children to know grandparents and stuff like that. I want them to be surrounded by family. Like, there's just so much that can happen. And I think people get so caught up in the unfortunate circumstances that are our traumas, that they allow it to say, and I talk about it all the time. Either you're going to let that mess keep you stuck,
or
hard thing, and you're going to sit with that trauma and be like, okay, so depression. I know you and I, we go way back. We're going to need to stop that. Okay. It's not cool. All right?
It's just like,
when you were a kid, process it, talk to somebody, write it.
You dropping gems.
Like, dude, it's just, I don't know, man. People ask all the time. And I think with just the way I was brought up and just the people, like, you can relate. We come from the same family. But like, my family's not perfect. Okay. They're not.
Nobody's family's perfect.
Nobody's family is perfect. And that's the thing, because at the end of the day, I know no matter how imperfect or dysfunctional my family may be, I come from a blended family. So it's already complicated. But I know at the end of the day, those people love me. Love me. I always have my best interest. So it gets to a point where you have to realize, like, is your pride so great that you're not going to allow those people to support you when you need them most?
Because the Lord is speaking through you right now, because that one was for me.
Girl, because when that happens, when you allow your pride to get in the way, when you allow, well, they did me dirty, so I'm not going to let them ever do that again. You're closing yourself off. Right? And you get into these ruts. You get to those low points that are inevitable. All right. They're inevitable. They're going to happen. Right. Whether you stay there or not, now that's up to you.
That's a choice.
Get to those points. Everybody, what does everybody say? I ain't got nobody. You can't trust nobody.
You got yourself, you got God, your higher power, you got a lot of things.
You gotta learn how to be vulnerable.
And how to see those things.
We're all human, okay? It doesn't matter. Take the most trusted person that you've got, all right? Other than yourself, like your most trusted person. They're still human. They're still flawed. I promise you, they're still gonna disappoint you. They're still gonna fall short in some area.
Yeah.
But you have to like humble yourself, because the reality is you're also the same way.
Exactly.
To a point
compassion.
where, like, you're going to be able to understand every situation, give somebody everything they need in every moment that they need it.
Who wants that pressure?
So when people get to those points and they're like, I don't have anybody, do you really not have anybody, or do you feel like you don't need anybody? Like,
it's very much a question of like, how can you allow yourself to let people in?
Exactly.
So yeah, thank you so much for sharing today. Like,
me, bro, this was cool. This was fun.
Yeah, I loved oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said I was super stoked about it. Like, I was down the days, literally.
Yeah, I know I had to reschedule. I actually had a whole panic attack that day. It wasn't a panic attack, it was an anxiety attack. But when those things come, you gotta wait, what?
I said I was praying for you. I didn't know what was, but I was just like, oh,
your girl needed every prayer she could get that day. Yeah, but no, I'm grateful that you're here, and I'm grateful for everyone who's listening today and watching this and just experiencing me and my cousin chat. Like, this is why I love girl chats, because you never know what's going to come up, and like it's always what somebody needs, whether I need this today or need it tomorrow. Like, it's so beautiful. So thank you, Jazmyn, for being here. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And you guys know the deal. Sorry, I got nervous. I was like, my cousin trying to leave me. But you all know the drill. The next 3 minutes are for you to reflect on everything that's come up for you. And if you want to chat or to talk about intentionality, because you know that's what I'm about over here, I'm here for you. So let me know if you need some additional support. But right now, the next 3 minutes are for you. There will be reflection prompts on the screen and in the show notes. So the next 3 minutes are for you. I will see you tomorrow, and maybe we'll see Jazmyn for another girl chat. But have a great night, have a great evening, have a great whatever time of day it is, and I will see you soon. Happy reflecting, everybody. Bye. Hey everybody, I really hope you enjoyed today's girl chat. I loved having these conversations, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy tomorrow's episode as well. But before you go ahead and click to the next girl chat, I want you to share your thoughts on this one. So you can go to the comments and share your key takeaways, what gem resonated with you, and just let us know your thoughts. And so, yeah, we want to keep the conversation going. We want to keep the girl chat going, even though it's over. But you can start the conversation down in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. And if you are listening on the podcast, I want you to go ahead and take a screenshot of this episode and tag us at DoulasBloom on Instagram and let us know your thoughts. Same thing, keep the conversation going, share it with a friend, let us know your key insights, your key takeaways, and yeah, I want to know your thoughts. How did you feel today's girl chat went? What resonated with you? So yes, that is what I want. And then I will see you tomorrow. For the next girl chat, and I'm so excited about this series. So excited about it. So, but I will see you tomorrow for the next girl chat. And yeah, I love y'all. Bye.